cancelled tonight.
This hangout is on air, is live.
Yay!
Yeah, I don't know how to work the sound effects. I don't have any of that. Don't know where to go to. So
Well, hold on. I'll add some sound effects.
all right.
Let me see. Google Effects.
Oh, I have that then.
Okay, and then I have headwear, eyewear, facial hair, props,
Oh,
sounds.
sounds. There you go.
So
Holy
there you
shit.
go.
There we go. All right. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome everyone to my first podcast. Breaking the cherry here, y'all. What I like to call the Backdoor Lounge. So, I am your facilitator, Chase LeBeau, and I have with me two people who are just in it just for shits and giggles. Leading off, ladies first, I have all the way from Liverpool, Dawn Cardiff. All right, and bringing up the real, and bringing up the real, my favorite scientist, professor, and all-around kick-ass, know-it-all mercenary with muscles. Scientist with muscles. I'm sorry, that would be Brutus Laurentius. The crickets on it. Yeah. Fuck it, we
Hey,
just
what's
having
with all
fun.
this imagery of the back door and the bringing up the rear and all this? Are you trying to get a message across?
I'm just fucking with people today.
I caught that.
Saw what I did there. Cool. All right, so today we just gonna shoot the shit. I really don't have a topic. Don't really, do we need one? Or let's just talk about what's on our mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've just salsa bug. I have got the biggest salsa bug that I reckon anyone's ever had. Salsa dancing. It's
Salsa
what I've
dancing.
been doing. Step aerobics, cold
Mm-hmm.
crunch, the next step, and it's about half an hour long, and it's basically a dance routine on a step aerobics thing, and it's you look at it and you think, looking out at first, because it's dead fast, and it's not that fast. As soon as you get the steps right, it's really easy, to be honest. But you sweat. Oh my god, the amount of weight I've lost
Mm.
doing this thing, just like once a day. It's just incredible, and I'm addicted to it. The salsa bug. I've even
Okay.
spoken to him on Twitter, told him he's changed my life and everything.
Oh, that's great.
And then
Hey,
I
Don, can you
Cool.
changed my life.
closer to the microphone?
Close
Hey,
to
Don,
the mic.
closer to the mic when you speak, Don, because otherwise it's like cutting in and out because of a limiter.
Okay. Is that better?
Oh, it's way
Oh
better.
yeah. Yeah.
Besides, if you're going to be salsa dancing, we want to see you up close and personal.
I know. That now it's all in the hips now. You saying you got a set of hips on you, huh?
Oh yeah, I've got a fucking good set of hips. They're not ready yet.
Mm.
I'll bloody do a video of myself when I'm comfortable with my own shape. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean? But
Mhm. Okay.
I'm addicted to it and I love it, and it's so much fun as well. You don't even feel the half an hour going. Do you know what I mean? It's not grueling because it's fun. And people say it's a lazy way to get in shape, doing aerobics and stuff. But I don't like the gym. I don't like lifting weights. It's boring. And I've got a compulsive, I'm a compulsive overeater, and I've controlled that, but it still manifests in everything you do. And I get bored. If I'm not mentally stimulated, I'll get really bored. And that's why I like doing the step, because it's like a game. You get to the end, you know what I mean? And it's doing a routine. Or I couldn't just sit there on this treadmill or something like that, because it's boring. It's really boring to me, and I like to do something which sparks me interest. You know what I mean? I have to be entertained by it as well. So that is ideal for me.
I like to do something. I wouldn't say I do aerobics in the traditional sense, but I don't do the gym thing that often either. I don't really like gyms. Um, what I do is I do body weight exercise, but a lot of times if I'm working on building my endurance, I'll do body weight exercises in such a way as to specifically build endurance, using, for example, high intensity interval training or Tabatas. So, for example, I'll do push ups for 20 seconds, rest 10 seconds, and do that 8 times. So I spent 4 minutes doing push ups. And in that 4 minutes, maybe I've done 100 push ups. But, because of the specific sequence of work, rest, work, rest, work, rest, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, it builds as much endurance as if I had spent a half hour on a treadmill. Because there's one thing I can't stand is a freaking treadmill, you know? Just garbage. I hate those things. Another thing you can do is something like a burpee or even jumping jacks or something like that. Or one of the things I'll do is a superset. So, for example, I'll do push-ups, then I'll do squats, then I'll do pull-ups, and I'll do them in a cycle. And then I'll rest a minute, and then I'll do another cycle. And that way it's not boring.
And it's a little bit of cardio, isn't it?
It gives you plenty of cardio, just as if you were doing aerobic exercises without having to do aerobic exercises.
That's me. I need to do the cardio, get your heart rate going. And the telephone always rings in the middle of it. And I'm like, oh, someone's on the phone.
I turn my phones off when I'm in the middle of my workouts. Nobody interrupts my workouts because they're time sensitive.
They must be done.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you do?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, Brutus just sent me this suspension trainer. Now, the hard part I'm coming up with is how to set this bad boy up for the ceiling. I have the straps for the door, but these doors are like paper thin, and I can just see my 215-pound frame just snatching these cheap bastards down.
What you do is you get yourself a loop at the hardware store that you screw into the beam.
Okay, like one of those hooks with the screw.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
You screw, but it's got to be a big one. You're looking for one that's like a 3/8 inch. Yeah, 3/8
3/8
inch
inch.
shank, and then like a
Okay,
couple inches wide. And what you do is you locate the stud, and then you pre-drill the hole, drill a 1/4 inch hole in it,
okay,
and then you twist that baby in. It'll be hard to twist it all the way in, but once you've twisted that baby all the way in, you ain't bringing that sucker down with your 215 pounds.
okay. All right. And then I also have these that Mikto guy sent me as well. And he sent them to me because he was getting a new set that's in pounds. These are in kilos, and I think when UPS sent them, the whole thing was like 44 pounds. And let me see, I got a half a kilo, 1 kilo, and a kilo and a half. So it's like 6 plates on each, so a total of 12 plates.
Not bad.
And I lift these. I can tell I'm out of shape, but then again, at my job, since I don't like elevators, I do go up 7 flights of stairs every time I do my rounds in 4 buildings.
Not bad. You're getting your
Yeah.
3,000 steps a day easy that way.
Yep. And now I'm working 5 days a week. It's time for a slim down.
I like it.
Yep.
Put a little step meter on your belt and measure how many steps you've done, and you'll like through the day, and you'll know like exactly how far you've walked. You go, God, I've walked 10 miles today, and it's quite enlightening, isn't it? When you do that, you put the pedometer, it's called, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I have an app for my iPhone called MyFitnessPal, and it counts my steps every day, and that's good because I, of course, take off at my lunch and I go walk around and things like that just to make sure I get enough steps in.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I also found this.
A
It's a
Fitbit.
Fitbit. Yep. I just need the charger to it.
There you go. Now you're rocking.
Yep. Just need a little charger to it, and I'll be good.
See, that's one of the problems with the way I get my Fitbits is, what I do is I mug people. And I
Oh,
always get them the
yeah.
Fitbits, but they're never carrying the damn chargers with them.
Yeah. Charge all the way home. I wish there was another way I could charge this bastard, but
No, you
gotta
need
get
that
one.
charger. It's its own
Son of a
thing.
bitch. Yep.
Microwave, that's a myth.
I got my microwave from my neighbor who was moving, and I was catching a contact for a couple of days. Full of residue.
Uh,
Yep. I mean, even when the guys came in, when the maintenance crew came in to turn, to punch that apartment out, they was always talking about like, man, what is that scent? I mean, they thought they needed to take a drug test afterwards.
well, it'll have a load of penicillin on it.
Silly. Uh,
Antibiotic.
all right.
So, what did you do today? Thanksgiving. Brutus, what did you do?
Let's see. Well, today wasn't Thanksgiving for me, but see, I went to church, you know, that kind of stuff. Not because it's Sunday, but nothing big. Caught up on a few little things around the house, did a little cooking and stuff. I try to get a little bit ahead of the week, cooking wise, so that I can just zap my meals during the week because I'm busy.
Never sits in one plot.
Yeah, so nothing big going on for me today.
All right.
Next week
Well,
starts a different phase of my training thing. My next fight isn't until the end of February,
okay.
so I've got plenty of time to change up my training patterns because when my fights are really close together, I really have to stay in the same training pattern. I can't really afford to back off or anything for fear of losing strength or something. But so I've been changing up my approach to workouts and so forth more in favor of building ligaments and tendon strength. And so, I've been doing that. So that's what starts next week. Well, I started that actually 2 weeks ago, but next week I'm doing another variant on it.
Okay. Cool.
Christmas is before we know it.
Huh?
It'll be Christmas before we know it.
I know.
Yes, it will be.
I've been collecting up lots of coal for everybody's stockings.
I just need to find. I need to find a device that puts enough pressure on it to make it a diamond.
There you go.
There we go.
Superman. What you need. See
Yeah.
Superman do it.
Yeah.
Superman can do it for sure.
Oh yeah. Superman doesn't put Incredible Hulk might actually crush it after he makes it a diamond.
Hulk smash.
Ash. He sounds like he sounds like the perfect caveman. I like
Yeah, he does.
simple, straight to the point. Yep. All right. So let me find some fuckery online that we can clown on.
I was thinking
Right.
of something recently because an acquaintance of mine recently passed from a heroin overdose,
Oh no.
and yeah, we weren't close, but the heroin thing has gotten really bad here.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, it's gotten really, really bad. I mean, the death toll from heroin overdoses way eclipses the murder rate or anything like that.
Oh
Um,
wow.
you know, uh, I think in Massachusetts, I think it's coming to like 9 or 10 people a day are dying from heroin overdoses, and in New Hampshire it's like 3. You wouldn't think that's a lot, but that's actually a lot more than the murder rate. That's pretty big. That's a lot of people flopping over dead.
hmm It's interesting you bring that up because it's a problem here as well, and that's a particular neighborhood in my city where everybody goes to get heroin. And it's just now after some prominent people in the suburbs died that they started cracking down again. But when you have a place that you can get heroin from for the past 4 decades, and I'm like, ooh, my thing is this so-called war on drugs is a sham.
Well, you know what I was thinking? Almost precisely that. I mean, think about it this way. If you're cracking down on heroin, you
Mm-hmm.
know people will die from it. Okay? Everybody knows this. Okay? Because most people can't do the math to dose it
Mm-hmm.
properly, even if they understand. Okay? Because you'd have to know how to do ratios and proportions and a little bit of algebra. And you really can't do that if you're hurting for a fix. Okay? So a certain amount of people are just going to die when you've got heroin involved. So if you don't want people dying, you either restrict heroin or you make morphine legal and give it away for free or something. Okay? Now, if they're not cracking down on heroin, it then follows that they want the people using it to die. And
Mm-hmm.
therefore, there's kind of a thing going on here where it's kind of like the people in charge would not make, say, marijuana legal unless they wanted people to use it as part of their bread and circuses. The people in charge would not make, you know, would not effectively unenforce the heroin laws or would effectively not enforce the prostitution laws unless they wanted people doing these things and they wanted the people who were affected by them to be harmed or killed for whatever reason.
Hmm.
It's the only thing I've seen to do with like anything that I've considered as waste is like that crystal meth, but it's not really taken off here as much, right? But I've never. Now this is going to sound really scumbag for me to say, right? But I've grown up on in rough areas, yeah, and we used to have a game where you'd slap each other, you and your friends, every time you see a smackhead, yeah. You've seen that many smackheads, right? So it would be like smack for the smackhead, yeah? And first one to 10 would win. So I've grown up learning without realising it. That like I can spot a smackhead from like a mile down the road. It's the way they walk and everything, right? And the same with the cokehead. You can recognise a cokehead when you're talking to somebody who's off the head on cocaine, but like a crackhead. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
freebasing it that
Yeah.
10, you know what I mean? But I've never seen anybody as off the face as I have seen like footage of people who are on that crystal meth. That is a
Oh,
whole
yeah.
different. It's like wow. It's like that is really fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
And
That is all kinds of crazy.
Yes, it is. And the crazy part about it is that when it comes to recognizing stuff like that, I used to work at an adult novelty store, and right down the block was a homeless shelter. Now, the city's been boxing with that homeless shelter for the past, oh, I don't know, 10 years because some weirdo decided it would be a bright idea to put a homeless shelter right in next to that, in the smack dab in that tourist district. And right across the street are is an apartment complex in which houses one bedrooms that go for every dime of $1,100 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Right down the next block, mid-rise condo, 1,300 a month or more. But okay, while we at it, we're gonna stick this homeless shelter full of the worst crackheads, base heads, meth heads out here, right here, and we're gonna put this adult store right here next to it, and right across the street is the hospital. Emory Midtown used to be Crawford Long, and to see those knuckleheads, operate the way they operated. I mean, it hurt. I mean, it hurt business because no one wanted to come in and shop for the fact that, hey, let's face it, they had to weave through a bunch of baseheads, a bunch of beggars, a bunch of hustlers, and we had one get, in a robbery attempt, got knocked the base head out. I mean, just left his stuff hanging in the middle of the street. I mean, blood everywhere, teeth knocked out. So,
It's
and
isn't it?
And then I even had cops tell us that, hey, we're not gonna do much about this issue because you got that homeless shelter there. We want it gone until they do something about that. Then you're just gonna have to deal with those issues. Mind you, that same homeless shelter owed every bit of about like $600,000 in overdue water bills.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the little scheme they use to finally shut that place down. And shutting it down did fuck all to stop anything because no one can enter the building anymore. But people still, the relics still live in that area, like in a tent, it's a bunch of tents there. And some
Well,
people just say, "Fuck it, I sleep in the street."
it occurs to me that there's a real problem.
Area. I intentionally do it here as well. They'll take a rough area which needs some improvements, and then they'll have a needle exchange put up next to the school and shit like that. They try and keep it all contained in one area, and basically leave them people to rot while they focus on better areas and the more prosperous areas, and they'll put projects into that. But yeah, they were going to open a needle exchange underneath my mum's flat. Right, and it was murder. It didn't happen in the end, thank God. Like, but yeah, the two downstairs flats were going to be made into a needle exchange. Like, I don't think so. And my kids wouldn't have been going to stay there after the job. And it's not because I don't see them as people, human beings. You change, right? Like once that stuff gets a hold of them, heroin, right? They're not the same person. They are totally different. They would rob, yeah, they would rob their own nan. But it's like they need it to feel normal in the end. You know what I mean? It's not a hit. It's not them getting a buzz out of it. They need it to feel just normal. You know what I mean? And if they don't have it, they'll flip. And I don't want that's not acceptable for my kids to be associated with. You know what I mean? You do need these needle exchanges as well, though, because otherwise they congregate in like areas in the park, and then you'll find needles there where your kids play.
Yeah,
You know
that's a
what I mean?
real problem.
So, like, I'm sorry if you're a person, but if my kid stands on that needle, I'm going to kill you. I will kill you. Do you understand? So you do need these needle exchanges to be put up somewhere. Do you know what I mean? For them to go and hit up, because if it could be anything on the needle, could be AIDS on it. Do you know what I mean? Anything. And it's unfortunate, but I think you do need these places for them to go and hit up. Sick as it is, better than it being on the streets, isn't it?
Yeah, but it would seem to me, I mean, I I realize that anytime there's a market for something, to a certain degree, a supply will arise. But I remembered way back when the Tylenol scare is what it was called. What happened is there was this dude in Chicago who opened up bottles of Tylenol and he put some tablets of cyanide in their place. And in no time flat, this was in Chicago in the United States back in the 80s, I think. And as a result, of course, in like one day, sales of Tylenol nationwide fell to zero. You know, nobody was going to get killed eating Tylenol. And it occurs to me that if we were serious about preventing people from using drugs that could kill them, we could control the supply to some degree, if we, of course, were serious about enforcing our borders, which apparently we're not, you know, because we like lots of cheap labor. But, you know, that notwithstanding, it seems as though we could get a handle on this if we cared, but it seems to me as though we've said this group of people, this class of people, aren't really people. We're just going to treat them like animals. We're going to let them get all addicted, get dehumanized, get to the point where they'll do anything to get money, to get the drugs they need to live, and just it seems sick to me. It seems really twisted to me to allow people to get into that condition.
Yeah. And and the crime rate goes up because when they run out of money, they'll go and rob you,
Right.
or they'll rob. Do you know what I mean? So the crime rate goes up as well.
Yes. I mean, we need to figure out a way of dealing with that. I mean, one way of dealing with it is to make it all legal. But the problem is,
How can you morally make heroin legal? You know what I mean? How can you?
well, for the same reason you can morally make a ladder legal. Some people use ladders without
I
killing
get it. I
themselves.
get it. It's just I do get it. I do get it. It's
Yeah.
just I've seen so many people like basically, they are the dregs of society. They're on it, and it's like, and imagine if it was legal. I do understand. I do agree with you as well. It's just hard for me to contemplate. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, what's the alternative? What do you get worse?
Well, I think if you made it legal, it could be made safer, though, because the dosing would be more obvious. And it would be clear and it would be labeling. And most of the deaths from that stuff are from overdoses. And you could prevent the overdoses by making it legal. But I think more importantly, a lot of people who become addicts of these things, they start off like they have a back problem and they're taking Percocet for their back pain or something like that. And then what happens is we have legal restrictions on their ability to get like the Percocet or whatever it is that they need for that. And so in order to continue dealing with their pain, their only real alternative is something like heroin. And then they
More
end up,
people are addicted to painkillers that are legal,
yeah,
aren't they? More people are addicted to legal drugs like
yes,
painkillers, antidepressants. More people are addicted to that. Yeah.
yeah. But what happens is if you no longer can get your supply of legal drugs, you then turn to the illegal ones, and then it becomes dangerous. And you started off, you were an investment banker or something like that. And the next thing you know, you're a homeless bum somewhere because of your addiction to this drug. It's
Yeah.
a problem.
I don't believe in like antidepressants unless my brother. I don't get. I am an angel, right? In my day, I've had a little go with this and that. As a teenager, clubbing it and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, but like my brother would go, "Yeah, I've one of these," and I'm like, "What is it?" And he's like, "Valium." I'm like, "I don't think so. I don't think so." It's not broken. You don't fix it, do you? I'm happy enough. I don't need no others.
Well, 4.5
I don't
billion years of
understand why
evolution.
somebody would take that when there's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah, I mean, my theory is that 4.5 billion years of evolution is not going to create a species where the majority of people's brains are so fucked up they need drugs to survive. 4.5 billion years of evolution, on the contrary, is going to produce a vast preponderance of people who will be perfectly fine without intervention from pharmaceutical companies. If that weren't the case, we would not have survived. Our species would not exist.
Pretty much.
Because it's only in the past 50 years that these drugs have even existed for most of us.
Hmm.
That's another thing that rolls into it as well with the toxic culture we live in now. It's everyone's a victim and everything. Um, 1 in 5 American schoolboys are on Ritalin or Adderall, right? And this is like because they're too boisterous,
Yes.
basically, in class, and it's because they're held to this like feminine standard, and wow, they're trying to incorporate. Everyone's going to be all touchy feely, and always want to express their emotions and feelings, but that's not how boys behave. And it's like,
Well, you're right. I mean, we have a standard of
animation is not
behavior
toxic for
that's.
children, and it's because of that toxic culture of like toxic masculinity and all that bullshit. It's it's that monstrous, and it's starting over here as well. Do you know what I mean? And no, 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 not at all.
Hmm.
Well,
And
yeah.
see, here's the crazy thing. This is my question. What in the hell is toxic masculinity, and why masculinity is toxic in the first place? What makes it toxic? I can never get that answer.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's just a bit of narrative, just to fucking blame everything on men again. That's what it is.
Well, the thing is, there is such a thing as masculinity, although it's something kind of hard to pin down. But a person knows what it is when they see it. And people who are not masculine can find it threatening. Because if you think about what masculinity is the thing that tamed a continent, that built a skyscraper, that created the internet. It is the most powerful creative force on the planet. It's also the most powerful destructive force.
Yeah.
and and people can be very afraid of something like that.
But it's like little boys are growing up as if they're defective girls.
Well, you're
It's
right.
like they're
And
trying to normalise them. And I'm like, what do you mean they are normal? They're supposed to be masculine. They're boys. There's nothing wrong
Exactly.
with boys. Now, it's okay if you get like the odd feminine little boy who's quite effeminate. That's fine too. No problem with me. No gender specifics in my house. You know that. You know that. But don't push this narrative and make them embrace the femininity. Which is fine, but you're telling the demographic of the majority is the best being natural instinct. And it's fucking with nature, basically. Just let them be who they are. Let them be what they are. There's okay to be a little boy. That's okay. You know what I mean?
I do.
Fucking back. Get out of the school. Get out of the schools and the education system because you want to join these kids. You really are.
Well, our education system is designed for girls, and it's designed, first off, it's predominantly taught by women, but women who have been through a liberal arts type curriculum and who have been taught feminism and stuff like that, and then they're teaching to a standard, a behavioral standard for girls, and boys are deemed defective if they don't act like girls, and therefore they're given these addictive amphetamines like Adderall and stuff like that in order to make them comply with behavioral standards for girls when really that's trying to make a rock act like a fish, and it doesn't work well. And it's labeling people as defective simply for being born, and it's a real problem. It's very Nazistic in its sense, you know?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Mm.
Well, they believe that we're not inherently different, you see. That's why they think the boys and girls are the same, and this is how they should act. And they're not the same. Well, there are no inherent differences, they'll say. Like, we are inherently different.
Yes, of course, and they forget that. Or
We're the same, two sides of the same coin, but we are different. And we have to connect to make the world go round. We're not the same.
and what's funny is that this is a theory. This is a theory that the communists had that was called Lysenkoism, going way, 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 way back. And this theory basically was that the only differences that occur between people are differences that have to do with their environment, or differences in their value system, or differences in what they're taught. And that if you take two human beings and you put them in the exact same environment and stuff like that, they're going to come out exactly the same. Of course, that's not true. When you come to men and women, there are differences. And environment can change how you manifest those differences, but it doesn't change what you are. And this idea that people are intrinsically something that's different from other people, some people are born smarter because guess what? It's fucking genetic. Some people are born taller because guess what? It's fucking genetic. Some people are going to be more aggressive. Some people are going to be, more persuasive. And that's just normal. But they can't stand that one person could essentially have a positive attribute to a greater degree than another person. And they want to make it seem like this is just all due to environment when it's not. Sometimes you suck, and as a result, you're going to create an environment around you that sucks, which is going to promulgate suckery to your offspring.
Hmm.
And as a result, your offspring not only are going to inherit your shitty ass genes, they're also going to be brought up in the environment created by people with shitty ass genes.
Yeah, yeah,
Basically.
that's right. Now, the Y chromosome, right, the X chromosome doesn't add anything but your brain matter, yeah? I found this out not so long ago. The female is what gives you your intelligence, yeah? Not saying it's your intelligence comes from your mother. That's how they put it. The female chromosome is in control of the intelligence in the baby, yeah? That's how it manifests, yeah? And they'll go, yeah, well, it's not to do with men. They don't give you the intelligence. And I'm like, well, what if your mother's a dumb fuck? What if your mother is dumb as fuck? Hey, she's going to give you your intelligence, isn't she? You know what I mean? That's it. Not, it doesn't mean she's going to make you intelligent. She just gives you your intelligence. That's another ridiculous thing you're saying. You know, and have you seen the masculinity is so fragile hashtag?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. They say masculinity is fragile, but if that's the case, civilization wouldn't have lasted as long as it did.
It's not masculinity that's fragile. It is the role of men in a family that is fragile. A
Hmm.
woman is automatically the mother of her offspring. It's obvious. It came right out of her body. It's not
Yep,
obvious who the
automatic.
father is. Now, the role that a father has to play is something that has to be socially enforced. If you go to all of the like primitive tribes all over the world, the thing that they have in common is what I would call a matriarchal structure. Either they have a thing where all the guys in the tribe screw the same girl and they all share as being the father, or they have some other kind of weird kind of thing going on. And they don't, what the one thing primitive tribes don't have is a socially enforced model where you have that woman's offspring are the offspring of this particular guy. The moment you have that, that is what assures you a future because masculinity, in order to be directed, has to be directed toward a future greater than itself. And so the thing that makes it so that guys were willing to build these, conquer continents and stuff like that, they didn't have to conquer continents for themselves. They conquered continents for their posterity. And so, on the one hand, you'll have these societies where you had skyscrapers going up, while you cross an ocean and you find societies of people living in mud huts. The difference is that the mud hut culture was matriarchal, it was a promiscuous culture. And you go to the other side where it was not a promiscuous culture. Now, of course, what we're doing with our culture is we're devolving it into a matriarchal, promiscuous culture. And you can see the results every place we try it. It's big in our ghettos. What you have is basically a matriarch who might have children for 3 or 4 different guys or something like that, whose names she conveniently can't remember. And, you know, the guys are running around. They don't have anything to hold on to for the future. They don't know who their kids are, or if they have any, or most of them never have any kids, and stuff like that. And as a result, you have like directionless, no plan, no nothing. And so part of masculinity is fragile. The part that has to be socially enforced is paternity. Outside of that, they go without direction.
Mm.
But in the way they mean it is as if they was the concept of the patriarchy controlling everything. Now, come on, do you know what I mean? Come on, is this
Yeah.
like just what you just said? They basically pander to, aren't they, mothers? Women's health is all pandered to. Men's health isn't. Technically we've got the same rights. Okay, they won't even believe that we've got the same rights. All right, so on paper we've got the same rights, but I've got way more sway with my rights and what I can do
Yes.
with it. Do you know what I mean? Than what you can. Because it's not just the victim complex and the individual. It's in society. The victim complex is effective to the culture, and he'll just automatically want to help the woman, and
Oh yeah.
it's that child support thing. I can't understand how she can just, in America, they can just write any man's name in the father box.
Yeah.
They just write his name,
Nobody questions it.
right?
Nobody.
The person on the certificate here as the father has to be there at the registration. So if it's not the father, he'll go, I'm not the father, but I take parental responsibility for this child. Right?
Yeah.
The person whose name is going down has to be in the room when the thing is signed. That would sort that problem.
Yes, it would.
I believe that they can just write any man's name, and then he has to prove it in court.
Yeah, and that's a problem. A man should have equal rights to a woman in that regard, but of course he doesn't, because men are seen as disposable, because our society has become more matriarchal. The mistake that we have made is we have thought that we could afford, because of our technological progress, because men and women for most jobs can do the same thing, we have mistakenly thought that we could afford to have more communistic models for child raising, where, for example, kids are raised in daycares instead of by their mothers and stuff like that. And then the man becomes disposable in the sense that his only real purpose is to earn money so he can pay taxes, so he can pay for all of this. The problem that you run into is that the more complex a society becomes, the more intelligent people you need to run it. And intelligent people are produced only through high investment parenting. And the thing is, you don't have high investment parenting in matriarchal structures. Therefore, you don't produce enough highly intelligent people to maintain the complex aspects of that society. And as a result, the society collapses. Now, what we've been doing is importing people from more matriarchal cultures, or more patriarchal cultures, such as India and China, into our country in order to help maintain its highly advanced infrastructure, because we're already not producing enough of our own highly intelligent people to maintain it. Which means that if they stop the flow of such people, our society is going to collapse technologically, because we are no longer, because we've adopted a matriarchal model, producing people through high investment parenting that are going to be able to maintain the society.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many people, isn't there? There's too many people to maintain on the planet.
And not enough intelligent people to maintain the systems required to sustain them. And that's the thing. It takes high investment parenting to produce children who will become engineers, or who will become scientists, or who will be able to solve the complex problems that face them. And you can only produce that with high investment parenting. And high investment parenting means, effectively, patriarchy. What is patriarchy really? Patriarchy is the guarantee that a child will have a father.
Equal amounts of input from the male and the female is
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I'm not saying, obviously we've got to move with the times, and, not everyone's into marriage and all that, and okay, but at least equal amount of fucking input from mum and dad.
Yeah.
Your kid is more likely to follow a prosperous future.
Exactly.
And that's a fact. And let's destroy the family unit. Let's fucking just destroy it. You know what I mean? It's your kids. You're sailing your kids down the river, by the way, but let's just destroy it, because that's what this fucking philosophy is doing.
Well, and the whole point of destroying the family unit is to make people more dependent on the state, so that they will vote for more welfare and things like that, and more empower the state, and ultimately, turn everything over to the state so that they can have a world socialist system. But of course that doesn't work, because the world socialist system itself is propped up on capitalism, and capitalism really cannot survive the loss of brain power that will come from the lack of high investment parenting. So it's destroying itself from the inside out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
Gotta check on some stuff.
So you've got all these social justice warriors and everything telling you how to be a fucking parent. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
they're pulling you up telling you that you are wrong for reading to your children now. It's not fair for you to read to your children or read with your children because you are putting yours at an advantaged position over children who don't have that with their parents. Like, oh, fuck off.
Oh,
I'm not.
that ableist bullshit. Oh yeah, I've heard of that. I had to explain to my cousin what a social justice warrior was, and he was like, "That's crazy." He summed it up in 2 words. That's some crazy. He was saying that's some crazy shit because his whole thing is, you know, uh, he had a pretty rough upbringing, but he was able to dig himself out of that. And main thing is, he admits when he doesn't know anything, but when whatever he does know, he's able to teach other people, and that's what he does. Anything that he doesn't know, he'll find somebody that does, and have that person teach them. And his whole thing is he wants his kids to have something that he didn't have, which is a two-parent household and a safe place for his kids to go to school.
Yeah, yeah, that's, you know, people will have a problem with him wanting that. you
Yeah.
know, it's basic normality of what's right is being
Mm.
like pulled into question. But
Mm.
what's right? It's my job to put my kids in an advantage position. If I can give them the best fucking chances by what they instill from me, then I've done my job. That's all I'm supposed to do. Don't tell me not to fucking read with my children. My little Lucas, he can read already. He can say all the alphabets. He can count to 50. He's only just turned 4, and
Wow.
you
That's
know
what I'm talking about.
he's just missed the age, because it starts in September. So his birthday's in October, so he just missed it really. So he's going to be like one of the oldest in the class.
Yeah.
Or is it next year when he starts? So he'll be nearly 5. Yeah,
Yeah,
when he'll,
5. Like here, because my birthday was September 2nd instead of the cutoff date of September 1st. I had to wait a whole year. That pissed my dad off. He was ready for me to get started right away, and he said, "Man, he got to sit here a whole another year." That's what he doesn't like about these school regulations. And my parents, even though they couldn't, they always wanted to send me to private school.
oh yeah. Well, if you've got the money, fair dues. But I think it does basically depend on the kid as well. If they've got
Hmm.
parents have installed into them, like, you need to learn, that's what we're here for, we need to learn. If the
Hmm.
kid wants to learn, it will do that in a comprehensive normal school as well. If the
Okay.
kids, you know, it, I've been to mediocre schools, and the results are always good. All the kids the high school was an all girls school, and
Mm.
it got trashed. The name of it, because everyone called it pram pushers. Like, that's like you push a baby, and it was like, it has a reputation, even
Oh
though I'm
wow.
pregnant, but that was the name. And but statistically, they're up there with like turning out good results. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And that's the point. Your kid will do well if it puts its mind to it. In just a normal school as well. Um, and I don't know. Private school. I think is it setting you up for like mainstream society? Because it's a little bit. I don't know. Is the education better, or isn't it? I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
well, here's the thing. When it comes to private schools, it is a different curriculum, and you don't and see, because it's a different curriculum than public school. Let's just say your child wants to advance in grades. Instead of waiting on the instructor to do so, he can go ahead and do it. He can just go at it for himself. Private schools give children here the ability to challenge themselves instead of just treading water.
It's called a grammar school here. That, yeah. The public school here is like a boarding school. I don't know why.
Hmm.
It's weird the way. To me, a public school would just be a normal school, but it's not. It's not like that here. It's normal comprehensive school, boys and girls. Yeah, that's a normal school. Private school is you are paying your fees to send your child to a private education, and public school is like like Eton, where like Prince Andrew goes and that.
Oh, okay.
That's what public school is. But private school is like for a better education is here is called a grammar school.
Grammar school.
Like
Okay.
and there are like certain kids who can pass us like a scholarship to get into it, and you've got to get it like over a certain level, and then you'll get a free pass into it. Our Sean missed it by a couple of by 2 points or something. She was under, and I could have contested it, but so many people contest it, because their kids just don't make the right, they could have got in, but like it's a harder regime as well. Kids are like nervous wrecks in there. She's got a couple of friends who are in there, and they're terrified of not passing anything. They're really terrified of not doing well as well.
Wow.
So, but yeah, if she'd have passed it, she'd have been going to it definitely. I would have said to her, "You're going to the grammar school, definitely." But she's in.
Oh.
She's doing great anyway. She is. I always knew she would. Yeah, but you got to have faith in them as well. You got to trust them that they're not stupid. Our Jack, he's doing like year 11 maths. He's only in
Mm.
year 8. He's in like the second year of high school, and he is doing like the last year. Like before they leave, he's like up there with his maths. So I'm like made up with him.
Hmm.
Lucas is a little. He's like just saying to chase them. Lucas isn't in school yet, so he's not. He's only just turned 4, but he's like knowing all his alphabet, and already he reads certain words. Like when we sing songs, he knows all his body parts. He knows like up to 50. He can count up to 50. So like he's going to go into school already knowing all that. And we were just saying some people have got a problem. Social justice warriors would slander me for that because I am putting my child at an advantage over kids whose parents don't do that. And I'm like, fuck you, that's my job. That's my
Exactly.
job to do that. I'm sorry, I would help them if I could, but these 3 little ones, these are my kids, and if I can, like, teach them something which is going to, like, further their progress for the better, then that's my job to do that. Don't tell me that I am appropriating fucking cultural fucking differences or whatever, because I don't give a shit. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Shaming tactics don't work on me. See ya, they're my kids.
Right on. Right on.
Hey Chase, did you include
Yes,
Darren in the video call?
I did, and I see he's having trouble. I got to find the right invite. I don't understand how they. Let me see. The links are down here. Okay, event page. Because I sent him the invite twice, and it's like I can't get it. Cause Dawn accepted. Where did you go, Dawn, to get it?
I went to
You
Google
called
Plus.
me. You called me on Google Hangouts.
Oh, I know what happened. I wasn't a friend of Darren's yet. I think that's what happened. And then when he added me, it didn't go through right away.
Call him on video call. Press 2. Call him. I know he has to answer the phone. That's what
Okay,
I did.
press the call. I mean, where? Let me see. Let me find that here. Where is it? Trying to look for it now. Show a high product. Okay, no, that's not it. Hangout toolbox. Well, I'm in Google Chrome. I'm still looking for it. Uh,
I see that
Can
you
you open
added
another
him to the
tab?
Hangout.
yeah, I did. He's probably you. See, I added both of his profiles.
He should go up to the top conversation. Let's see if I see him in Facebook here. Hold on.
Yeah, let him know because I had. He should go to the. Cause I invited him, but I don't think I was friends with him yet.
Have you invited Jawara? I noticed that he just noticed our thingy in the PhD and Swagu group chat.
Oh, so
Yeah,
we are on.
I don't think I'm his friend either. I think I need to add him somehow. Let me see. Let me check this out because I'm messing it up all kind of way.
So how come it? How come it wasn't going to be on tonight anyway?
I mean, the link is right there where it says Google Plus dot Google event. I mean, I don't understand how they're not getting in.
Well, if you click that, it just takes you to the Backdoor Lounge event page. It doesn't
Ah,
take you
shit.
to the actual where you can participate in the video.
So where do I find that? That's what I need.
Don't know.
Yep.
I wonder if it's this. Let me see. Hold on. Hold on here.
Okay.
Let me see something. Do 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 do.
So we are on Swagoo thing now, are we?
No, this is something I created myself.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's what.
just click over here and tell them to try this link. It's just the link at the top of my chat bar here.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
I've been really ill this week.
Hopefully that works.
I'm gonna have to call it a day in a minute. I've had like the flu really bad this week, so like I wasn't really going to do this tonight. But I suffer bad from insomnia, so I'm always awake. But yeah, I've got like pretty bad chest infection. Just look at me smoking and everything. But yeah, I'm not going to be up for much longer. Like
Yeah, time for you to get some shut eye. How far ahead of you right now? Here it's 9:33. What
33.
time is it there?
2:33.
Okay, so
2:33 a.m.
you're
They already.
see
Yeah.
5 hours ahead of me. You're 5 hours ahead of me.
Mm-hmm. Me too. We in the same time zone, so she.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to pop my head in, like have a little natter, because I'm always awake. So yeah, I'm going to be signing out in a sec. How do I actually get out? Like, do I just? How do you get out? Like, I don't really know. I always end up doing it by accident.
How do I get
Oh,
out?
how you get out of the hangout?
Yeah, I can
Oh,
actually get out.
okay. You on your phone, right? You just shit. I think you mess with it. And you see when you see the when you see the red button in the middle, you just hang up. Touch the screen. Yeah.
I think I'm on the drop down thing because you called me, didn't you? So I'm going to try and get out, right? It's been great speaking to you.
All
So
right.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
Don. Have a great night's sleep.
I think, all right, nice one. See you later.
Mhm. Take care. Hey. All right.
Yeah, that worked for her.
Yep, that worked. Finally, I told us. I did something right for a change. I gave people right information.
Well, that's a good start.
Yep.
Knowledge is power. Power
Always.
corrupts. Study hard to
Yep.
be evil.
Yep, absolute power corrupts absolutely. I love that. So, how was your week?
It was okay overall.
Okay. Oh yeah, how's your friend doing?
Um, he's still in the rehab hospital.
Okay, he's still in rehab.
Yeah, I went over to his place today to help get it ready for him to get out. They've tentatively said he's going to get out of the rehab hospital in, I guess, another 10 days. And I went over there today to kind of help make it so that he can get around the place with his walker because he's a bit of a hoarder.
Oh
And
gosh.
yeah, so he didn't have a clear path. And so I went over there today to take care of a few things just to get it so that he could get from where he would sleep to where he could use the restroom and things like that using a walker that the walker could fit through. So I
Yep.
did a little bit of work towards that today, and I'm going to do a little bit more next weekend. So,
Okay.
and he's
Well,
making progress.
mhm, I'm a bit of a hoarder myself, but only because I'm paranoid about identity theft. So I have files and papers in this big tub that my shredder went out. But at the same time, let's face it. I mean, I bought it from Target for $20. I mean, I chopped up old debit cards with it. Six sheets of paper at a time, and I was running it for like 20, 30 minutes straight. So sooner or later, I was gonna kill it.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a document shredder too. What I mostly use it for is shredding newspapers for bedding for worms to make worm compost because I use
Really?
worm compost as part of the stuff that I use for starting my seedlings in the spring.
Okay. So the worms just go in and get the soil, saturated enough for. Okay.
Yeah, the worms actually will eat your garbage. Depending on how big your worm bin is, you can get a worm bin going well enough that it will, all the scrapings off your plate, all that stuff, they'll just eat it all.
Oh
But
wow.
once you get it going good, um, it's pretty amazing actually what they do.
Hmm. So basically, nature works. We just got to stop fucking it up.
Yeah, and you can make it work to your advantage. I mean, worm composting is the way I tell city slickers how they can do composting because sometimes I get questions from like city slickers. They're like, "How can I do something?" And I'm like, "Well, what you can do is you can start yourself up a worm bin, and
Hmm.
what you use to start it with is newspaper, shredded newspaper, and so you use the document shredder to shred up that newspaper good, dampen it." Put it in your thing, put your worms in there with it, put just a teeny weeny bit of soil, doesn't take much. And what they will do is the worms spit out bacteria that will rot the newspaper, and then they eat the rotting newspaper and use that to
Wow.
make more of the bacteria that they shit out that covers more of the stuff. And so it creates this cycle. And once they get going, what'll happen is you can just dig up a corner of your bin, throw in your like old cereal or whatever it is you're going to throw in there, cover it back up, and the worms will get after it, and it's gone in no time.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. Worms are just absolutely insatiable eaters.
Mm.
So
Okay. So that room that you're in right now that you do all your podcasts in, is that is that a room that you designed yourself or?
it's just an office.
Okay.
It's I've got a lot of different things in here.
Hmm.
Because I've got like, let me see if I can show you a little stuff here. I don't know how far this will reach.
Well, let me click on your screen directly so I can always see.
Let me see here. You can I'll throw a little light on the subject here, maybe. You can see I've
Okay.
got a couple of computers down here.
Yep.
The
Those.
one on the right is the one I'm using right now. Let me see if I can
Okay.
get a good angle on that. And if you
One
look
on the
at that,
right. Okay. Not because you're upside down. Okay. Now I get it.
yeah.
Okay.
Let me see if I can turn this in the way that, okay.
Okay.
So,
It's yeah. I see now.
okay, now this one here that has the blue light on it, if you
Hmm.
look up above it, it has like two drive things.
Yep. King win. Okay.
Okay, now
That's a drive bay, right?
yeah, exactly. And what I do is I flop a different drive in there depending on what I'm doing.
Okay.
Now over here on my other computer, this here is a dual Xeon server from hell, but I have a little drawer in it that I can
Hmm.
pop out. And here's my different drives for different operating systems that I might want to run. Here's
Holy
my
shit.
engineering. Here's my Windows 7. I've got, different drives for different things. Here's my,
Mm-hmm.
let's see, my KX Studio drive. And so what
Okay.
I do is I just flop a different drive in there for whatever it is I'm wanting to run. And so down in the back, I don't know how well you can see it, but I've got little bitty computers hiding. And
Mm-hmm.
over on the side, I've got a network attached storage hiding. Uh,
Jesus. Is that the Xbox controller down there?
it is an Xbox controller. I use it with my PC for when I'm playing. Most recently, I'm playing Assassin's Creed.
Oh, holy shit. Hell yeah.
Now up here, you'll see some synthesizers,
Okay.
and that is a Warp Factory. That is a vocoder, one of the old style
Vocal.
vocoders.
Okay.
And here you'll find a synthesizer called a mofo. It is a
Mofo.
genuine mofo.
All
And
right.
here's a direct box for plugging things like guitars directly into recording interfaces.
Okay.
And here's an expander and compressor
Okay.
that you use with recording vocals and stuff.
All right.
Here's an orchestral synthesizer.
Orchestral. Okay.
Here's a famous synthesizer, the Yamaha. The
The
face on that
Yamaha.
is, yeah,
Yeah,
TX81Z.
TX81Z. Then you got a rolling Super JV. Whoa.
Yeah, got me and that's got all the expansion cards in it and everything. That's used for doing, film scores, stuff like that.
Oh,
And
okay.
and for powering all those things, I'm powering those all via MIDI. I have a MIDI man.
MIDI man. Okay.
And the interface I use for recording, and actually you're hearing me through this interface right now, is the Alesis IO4. And as you can see,
Man.
I plug, standard XLR and stuff like that right into it.
Okay.
Um, and what I'm using that you're hearing me on right here is an Audio Technica microphone.
Same one I have. Just yours is probably a little more high tech, but I don't have a stand, so that's why I don't use it yet.
Yeah. And over here you've got let's see, books.
Bookshelf.
And on
More
top,
books.
and there's parts for electronic parts from electronic gizmos. And you
Hmm.
look down here a bit, you'll see that I've got various and sundry electronic gizmos that I'm working on.
Oh, okay.
And further down, yet more electronic gizmos and stuff that I'm working with.
Is it tubes? Cables.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah.
And then back here, you'll see I've got like a printer.
The back printer, two routers, the phone, You need to put your cordless back on.
I've got all kinds of routers and stuff over there, and I've got another switch over here. Now these things are not low end gizmos.
No, they're not.
What I've got going on there, that for example is a full gigabit switch that will actually transfer to full gigabit, and
Full gigabit.
yeah, full
Holy
gigabit.
shit.
And so that's very powerful stuff. And it'll also do link aggregation, um, all that kind of jazz.
Okay. So see, here's my thing. All right, my whole thing is that you know how you go on. Well, I went through Credit Sesame, and what they do is they monitor my credit,
Yeah.
and they seen that my credit scores increased. Now they're saying that even with my credit, and I've heard a lot of people say this, even mortgage lenders say that I can get a house quicker than I can get a vehicle. And they even qualify me for over, a six-figure home, like 160,000.
Well,
So I'm like, I'm confused here. Something doesn't add up.
well, let me explain how it works. Pretend
Okay.
you go and you buy a house for $160,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First off, you're going to make a down payment.
Okay.
Your down payment is going to be between $16,000 and $32,000.
Wow.
Now, think about this for a moment. You just worked and slaved and saved. Well, and plus you're going to pay what's called closing costs, what are called points. And a point is equal to 1% of the value of the property. So in this case, each point that you pay for the originating of the loan is going to be $1,600, $1,700. So pretend you pay 2
Damn.
points, right? So you're going to pay $3,300, and that's just pure profit that goes to whoever originates your loan. Then you're going to pay $32,000 down, and then you're going to take out a loan for $130,000. Okay. Now, so what happens is the mortgage company lent $160,000 for this house. You paid $30,000 down, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So they only made you a loan for $130,000. What happens if you walk away from the property?
Shit. Besides my credit being destroyed.
What happens is the mortgage company can then go out and sell that piece of property for $160,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've got their money back, right?
Right.
They lend you $130,000. You lost $32,000 of your down payment when you walked away, or when you lost your job, or when you got sick or hurt and couldn't pay the mortgage. Doesn't matter. They've got their money back because then they foreclose the property. They sell it at a foreclosure sale. They're going to sell it for well more than what they lent you for $130,000. So they're cool. Now, a vehicle is different. When you go and buy a vehicle, pretend you paid nothing down on it, right? You got one of those nothing down deals.
Nothing down deal somehow, and that's,
Yeah, and they offer those. Nothing down on a brand new vehicle. So you bought that vehicle for $15,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
You drove it off the lot. It's now worth $10,000. Just because you owned it. Okay?
Just because I moved it. Son of a bitch.
Now, what happens if they repo that car? What can they sell it for? At most, $10,000. Even though you owe the bank $15,000. So what will happen is they'll sell it for $10,000 to get what they can out of it. And then what they'll do is they'll file what's called a deficiency judgment against you for the $5,000.
Damn.
And so what'll happen is every time you get a job, they'll try to garnish your wages. Every time so they're going to try all that kind of shit on you, right?
Yeah.
But you see why it's harder to get a car loan than it is to get a mortgage.
Yeah, because they can make their money back with a house as opposed with a vehicle. I could decide to drive the son of a bitch off a cliff.
Exactly, and then they've got no value.
Right. Okay, I get it now. So I forgot about the whole thing about down payments and all that. So, so what about this whole down payment assistance? I mean, do I have to have a 700 beacon score for that?
I don't know. It depends on what programs they're running now. What down payment assistance usually is a second loan.
Damn.
A loan for the down payment that you pay separately. Underwriting that is very, very difficult. Some companies will do it. They used to call them 80-20 loans.
80-20s. I've heard of that.
Okay, what it is you have your first mortgage is the 80%. Your second mortgage is the 20%. You've paid no money down. Now, the first mortgage, he's happy because he gets paid first out of a foreclosure sale, right? Okay. And so if you decide, to walk away, or you lose your job and you can't make the payments or something like that, and they foreclose the property and it's $160,000, they only lent you $130,000, they're going to be able to sell it for enough to get their money. It's the second mortgage holder, the 20 part on the 80-20 loan. His ass is out there exposed.
Okay, he wide open.
Okay. Now, what a lot of these guys will do is they will have you pay what's called PMI, private mortgage insurance. What private mortgage insurance is, it's their insurance that if you paid less than 20% down out of your own pocket on that house, they want to make sure that they're going to be made whole no matter what. So what they do is they charge an insurance based on your credit and all this other kind of stuff, and it's usually $200-300 a month that you pay on top of your loan, that if you walk away, they will make sure that the lender gets their money.
Got it. And look who it is. We finally got Darren Gould on the podcast. Yes.
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad. It took me a little while to figure out how to get in.
Well, I didn't know either.
No, it's okay. This one's more like the one that we usually use, but I don't normally use my my Google Plus, So that's where I got confused.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, or that. There's a big yawn. Somebody's ready for bed too.
Yeah, we all ready for bed. I think.
Yeah, I didn't think there'd be a live podcast tonight because of the American Thanksgiving. So everybody's
Yeah.
turkeyed out and traveled out and everything else.
Yeah, everybody's done lopped off the head of their turkey and munched their turkey, and now they're ready to sleep until spring.
We'll see. I had an added bonus when I used to run the States because it was really nice because our Thanksgiving is the second week of October,
Right.
right? So usually the second Thursday of October. So I usually get turkey deals when I'm down in the States for my Thanksgiving, and then with the turkeys in November, then I get them for Christmas. So
Not bad.
yeah, there was a few different brands of turkeys I really liked that come out of the U.S. I mean, here we got all the usual ones like Butterball and stuff like that. But Sheila and I went out a couple of days ago and bought a couple of Butterball turkeys, one for Christmas and one for a spare. So we're loaded up on turkey.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I get all the turkey I need for. I personally, turkey puts me to sleep. It just knocks me right out.
Is the tryptophan in it?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
the
I was also told that I shouldn't feed dogs or cats turkey for that reason.
Really? I didn't
Yeah,
know
because
that.
of the tryptophan, because I remember I gave a cat some turkey, it was leftover that I wasn't gonna eat, and then I say about 10 minutes later, he was underneath the car asleep. I mean, he just laid flat. I thought I killed him at one point, but after a while, he woke up and was running around being a cat again.
that won't hurt him though. The only problem with getting animals poetry is if there's bones in it. Because
Okay,
obviously
this.
the bones
Okay.
splinter, right? And it can do the dog
Yeah,
or cat serious harm. So
yeah.
they don't.
This was the slice shit that you get from the grocery store.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No
I'll tell
bones.
you that.
So no bones in that. Yep.
Not much turkey.
I think
Either.
I think the funniest thing that ever happened to me while under the influence of turkey, if that's a
Hmm.
word, IUT or something like that. Anyways, I was having Christmas dinner one year at my mom's with my wife and kids, and at the time, and a few family members, and I had a glass of wine in my hands. And did any of you ever see Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
I seen bits and pieces of it with Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Yeah,
Yeah.
they two hit team. Yeah, the two wet
Okay.
work couple. The wet work couple. Yeah.
Remember when he dropped the bottle of wine and he caught it midair before it hit the floor at the beginning?
Yeah, I think I think
Yeah.
that sound familiar.
I had a full glass of wine, and the turkey was starting to hit me, and I nodded off like just not even a mega snap, like
Hmm.
just a millisecond. I nodded right off at the table, and I dropped the glass, and then suddenly I woke up and I managed to swoop down and grab it with my hand before it hit the floor. And everyone looked at me and said, "Damn good reflexes." And I go, "Yeah, I amaze myself sometimes." But
Great.
I just I couldn't stand it after that. I had to go to bed. I was just burned out from it. It just knocks me right off my ass. I love the taste of turkey, and it doesn't seem to bother me too much if I stew it or if I make turkey soup or something. But if I eat whole turkey, it's gonna knock me right out.
It's good
It always
stuff.
does. Yeah.
That beats Salmonex.
Oh, I love
Salmon.
Thanksgiving.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was having a little fun with James earlier in the week. I said he was showing pictures of his turkey,
Hmm.
and he says, "Thankfully, I love turkey." And I says, "That's okay, James. Turkey loves you too. Just don't fly over its airspace."
I get it.
Well, congratulations on your new position.
Thanks. I needed it like crazy.
Yeah, hey, it'll help you a lot. Is it more full-time hours now for you?
Yes, if it's a full time 80-hour schedule.
Awesome. Cool.
Yes, full time 80-hour schedule with
80 hours?
Yep, every 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So it's a 40 hours a week.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So at 80 hour, so I get an 80-hour check every 2 weeks now.
Well, that's awesome. So you can be paid bi-weekly then.
Yep.
Cool. That's good for you. That'll increase your fortunes a bit.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to have a car by the end before Christmas. Actually,
Yeah. Oh, cool.
find a buy here, pay here that'll let me have one for 300 down. I'm seeing a lot of them, especially a couple of my friends from Facebook have some.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna see what they have.
Well,
See if they're gonna.
for the time being, get something that's good on fuel or economical,
Yeah.
and just save, and eventually get to bigger and better things. Yeah, you got to remember, right now the auto market is still pretty stagnant, so it's not going to bolt up suddenly or anything like that on you anytime soon.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I needed that.
Yeah, well, I'm just simply saying that, I mean, let's face it, we haven't recovered from the last downturn. And there's still a large glut of automobiles out there waiting to be bought. And like I said to my friends, I says, you live you live bad during the good times, or you live poor during the good times, so you can live really good in the bad times. And the reason I said that is because back in like 2008, 2009, with the economic downturn, your typical pickup truck, like a Ford F-150 loaded, was here in Canada anyways, going for around 54,000.
Oh, okay.
Now you can get them for 25,000.
Oh, wow.
And they got so many of them, they don't know what to do with them all. And they're fully loaded. And who gives a shit if it's a 2010 or a 2011 model or whatever? They're brand new.
Yeah. And see, I don't need a big car right now. I don't need anything huge. I don't need anything powerful. I just need something that go to point A to point B. But I do need something but see, I still want something with leather seats. I do want something where I can hook up an MP3 player to it. If I want to hook up my phone and listen to some tunes, because I can't stand the radio here. It's horrible. And I don't have the cash right now to make a bunch of CDs, and I'm about played out on CDs. I mean, they scratch up all the time.
Well, that certainly should be possible. I mean, most of the modern vehicles have MP3 and data ports and stuff like that since 2010 and whatnot. But I mean, I don't need the latest greatest Ford F-150 pickup truck. I don't need the 2015 or 2016 year model. I'd settle for a 2010 with low mileage on it.
Yep.
For half the price of what I would have paid before the economic downturn. So this is why I tell people, you live poor when the times are good, so you can live really good when the times are bad, because then you're in a position to bargain and you got the money and nobody else does.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
That's how you win. It's on anything. I mean, right now consumers' prices are sitting relatively low simply because, let's face it, we haven't economically recovered yet. We're not going to see a superheated economy like we saw during the Clinton years, which in itself was a fluke because everywhere in the world was generating all at once. But things have really gone down in price, or at least staying stable. But unfortunately, the job market being such, nobody has jobs or any spare cash to spend, not in a big way. So,
as a result, prices are staying low.
Yes, and so therefore, for the next few years, for sure, at least, anyways, you're going to be in a perfectly good position to get yourself the automobile you want for a very nominal cost.
Okay.
It's always better to buy them used.
Yeah, I don't want anything new because my insurance probably going to be through the roof. And see, I can't right now. I need because I can tell you right now, if I continue to use Uber, it's going to cost me a lot more.
Right.
Over time, because that money could be used to go in a car, but I just don't have the $1,000, $1,200, $2,500 down that these people want me to put down, and even at a buy here, pay here.
You have to save it up over time.
Yeah, and I need to get something can happen where I can call an Uber in case I get off late because my relief shows up late, and I can wind up paying like surge pricing like 3 times the limit. I'm like 3 times the fare.
No, I mean if you live more rural, like say Brutus or I do and stuff like that, probably a pickup truck's more in your market, or something along those lines. But for a guy like you living in say Atlanta, you get some nice cars for a moderately nice price that are great on fuel. I like Honda Civics, believe it or not, and I also like Mitsubishi Lancers.
Yep, it's so hard to find a Mitsubishi now. I thought they stopped making them at one point.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I know.
we got tons of them up here in Canada.
Yeah, a
Mm,
lot of those cars, even if they're 10 years old, they're still great cars.
yep.
I'll tell you what's even an awesome car is my mom has a Nissan Altima, and it's nicely appointed. Lots of bells and whistles and 6-speed tranny and all that stuff, and they're great on fuel, and they're sleek. They look really good,
Yep.
especially with leather interior.
But see, the only issue is here in Georgia, they have no problem with selling. So, trying to get a Honda Civic, they're gonna automatically say, "Oh, we need about 26 to 3 grand down," because we have no problem selling these things.
Yeah. Well, I took my mom had her car in for service one day at the
Hmm.
Nissan dealer, and they had a Mitsubishi Lancer in the parking lot that they used for a courtesy car, and it was a fairly new one. And
Hmm.
she let me take it for a test drive out to the reserve to get my cigs and gas, and it was an awesome little car, uh, nice inside, and yeah, lots of muscle for its purpose, uh,
Yep.
and really good on fuel. And then when I went up north to my dad's memorial service back in 2010, after all the
Hmm.
shit hit the fan with me, I had to rent a car because the ex took off with the van down east. We had a Toyota Sienna van. She screwed off down east with that, and I had to rent a Honda Civic to take up to my dad's funeral service. And that thing used next to nothing for the 4-hour drive north. Just it was really good on fuel and zippy and very maneuverable. But it just depends what you're looking for.
Yep.
You buy a vehicle that suits your character and you know what I guess reflects your lifestyle. For me, I'm a pickup truck guy. I'm always going to be, I think, for the most part. But if I was going to buy smaller scaled down cars, seriously, I'd look at a Honda Civic or Mitsubishi.
Okay.
Yeah, um, or something in that range. I'd settle for the Nissan Altima too. That's a nice looking car.
Oh yeah. Even though we call them thought cars here, because every single mother that works in nursing school has one, but they're reliable. There's a reason why they're popular.
Well, it's true. I'll tell you though, North American cars wise, now I'm not a big fan of GM anymore. I used to be, not now. Um, but the Chrysler 300 is a sleek car too.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, I like its look. It's good for an older adult for sure. It looks well,
Yeah,
Brutus and
you'll
I.
love that 300.
Yeah. Brutus and I would probably look pretty good at them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I look good in everything.
we we
Ah.
we put our fedoras on, go up and down the strip like a pair of gangsters.
Oh, I like that part.
With the chicks, yeah. Play some game on them. Hey, check it out, ladies. Boop. Go ahead, jump in the trunk. We'll take you for a ride.
There you go. Yeah, the Chrysler 300 is a really nice car.
Yeah, I like 300. That's the only Chrysler product I like. The only other Chrysler I liked before that was my dad's old '67 Newport. And that thing go.
I've never been a big fan of Chryslers either. I do like some of the newer Chevys. Um, they don't make it now. I think they replaced it, but they made the Aveo, and I had one. And
Yeah, that was replaced by the Chevy Sonic, if I recall correctly.
but that Aveo I had, I put over 200,000 miles on it. It was still running great when I gave it to my daughter.
Yeah, the last Chevy I bought was a 1994 Chevy station wagon, Chevy Cavalier wagon. And the reason I bought it is because Cavaliers at the time were a good sized car. And those things can get hit from the rear and from the front. They had the shock absorbing bumpers, and they almost seemed indestructible. And I thought, oh, perfect car for the wife at the time. And my daughter had just come along, so I wanted her to be in something that had, a certain measure of safety to it.
Yeah.
And at the time, that was the only car in that range that seemed to offer that. Not only that, the reason I bought it is because one time I was going in to turn at the Tim Hortons on Main West, and there was a university student behind me with a Chevy Cavalier, but he had the four-door sedan, and he was from out of town. I think he was from Kingston, Ontario, and he's going to McMaster in Hamilton. And he was right behind me, and then some goofy chick in a Buick LeSabre oddly enough, with her boyfriend with her, come flying up the street, and I guess Dipsy wasn't paying attention, and she slammed into the back of the student with the Chevy Cavalier, who then slammed into the back of my Mazda pickup truck and took out my tailgate.
Ouch.
Yeah, and my tailgate got munched out, my bumper, and um, the Buick was completely totaled at the front.
Of course.
And she's going all flaky on us, and we're like trying to calm her down. The university student's really upset because he just bought the car, or his parents helped him get it, and it already got involved in the first accident. And I remember the officer exclusively that day because there's only one of maybe 2 or 3 black officers in all of the Hamilton Police Service, and that was Officer Donaldson. And while I was talking to him, I was lucky I was at the front because I got rear-ended, so that made me not at fault. But him and I were both looking at the car, and we're going like, holy shit, there's not a mark on it. This was the Cavalier that got sandwiched between us. There was not a friggin' mark on it. Like, you never know it even had an accident. And the cop and I were both just sitting there getting a kick out of this and talking about it. And I says to the cop, Michael Donaldson is his name. I know him pretty well. I says to him, Mike, I gotta get me one of these. And he says, yeah. He says, I might look into it too. I says, look at, not a mark on it. Meanwhile, behind it's a car that's totaled at the front end, and of course in front of it's my pickup truck. So all smashed in. I thought, and that's actually what convinced me to buy the car in the first place, was just because of that particular accident. And I thought, good thing to stick a wife and a kid in. You know?
Yeah.
So,
or at least good for the kid. You know, the wife should be driving one of those smart cars.
Yeah.
Wow.
Back then things were still good, right? You know?
Yeah, I got you. Hey guys, I'm gonna sign off because getting late here. Got plenty of stuff still to do.
Likewise,
right.
I'm just waiting for my sleeping meds to hit in. I've been having a restless night.
Oh, okay.
And I still got to get up early, but I just took a half a pill tonight. Hopefully that'll be enough to calm me out for about 4 hours, 5 hours.
Well, you guys hang in there. Have a great night.
Okay, you too,
Right,
Bruce.
you too.
Nice to see you. And happy Thanksgiving belated.
Chase.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Take care now.
But, yeah, no, get yourself a good versatile card. Something that'll